What is up, beautiful humans? This is Blythe Langford, your personal freedom coach. And I just wanted to tune in today about spiritual awakenings because a lot of people don't know that they're actually having one. And so I just wanted to share with you what it actually can be like mentally, physically, or in your world. So for starters, you can feel sometimes crazy. Like you don't know what the fuck is going on in your mind and you can't really understand what's happening within you, but there's like this feeling of craziness, like everything is, as one of my teachers says, recombobulating, but we don't actually know what's happening. Because what is actually happening is our identity is being shattered. So mentally, when our identity starts to shatter, all of our mental programming that's not our own stuff, the stuff that was subliminally programmed into us through society, our family, or through our ancestral lineage, this programming that isn't actually our own stuff starts to shatter, and our true self actually starts to come through. And what I mean by feeling crazy is because we are so attached to our identity, and because our programming wants to remain within us, it doesn't want you to let it go, that there is almost like this inner battle. And that's why it can feel like a bit of craziness, because there's literally two worlds at play within your mind, and it can be quite confusing and confronting, and also like all of your shit's popping up, right? So that's what that is. It's the breakdown of the programming of the ego that's not yours, and it's your true self being unveiled, if you'd like to say. I think that's a really nice way to put it. It's like the unveiling of your soul, which is amazing. It can also, a spiritual awakening can also pop up and look like all of your past shit that you thought you dealt with ages ago is back up again in front of your face. And that could come through in eating addictions, it could come in eating disorders, it could come in drug addiction, it could come in alcoholic binges, it could come in narcissistic tendencies, it could come in all different types of addictions, and then also all different types of personality traits that you thought that you had changed, gotten rid of, or had subconsciously suppressed. So when these things pop up, it's actually, once we deal with them and integrate them and actually understand and look at them and allow them to be part of ourselves, rather than trying to avoid or unattach from these things, like a lot of schools of thought would say, yeah, we just need to be like unattached to everything and like let all of those things go and like not really concentrate on any of that. And that is really another avoidance technique, or a really great way of suppressing things that are actually there, that need to be seen, that need to be looked at. And it's parts of our upbringing where we generally, like, this is just a generalization, but part of it is that there is parts of us that we haven't actually fully accepted and integrate and allowed to be part of our being. For example, it could be like an eating disorder might pop up, and it might be that 14-year-old version of yourself that you absolutely hated because you were completely overweight, you were isolated, you didn't have any friends, you felt totally alone, everybody teased you, and you just felt freaking awful, right? Because that part of yourself you actually haven't integrated. You've done a great job of concealing or putting a band-aid over the fact that there was an eating disorder there, but it's popping up for a reason, because you haven't integrated that part of your soul back in. You haven't actually nurtured and loved that 14-year-old version of yourself that so deeply and wants to be seen and heard and integrated into your soul, because that's a part of you. And once you can understand her for her beauty, or him for his beauty, whether it be let's just stick with this one story, whether it be her for her beauty, then you can integrate that in. And then once you can understand what is actually going on in your world, then the spiritual awakening can start to actually take form and actually expand your consciousness, because you've integrated all parts of your soul and you haven't spiritually bypassed anything that's really important to integrate into your being. It could be a drug addiction. Drug addiction is a very interesting one, and it's generally people that haven't felt safe in their environment when they were being brought up. So when they haven't felt safe, they also generally haven't gotten validation for who they are. And so and these are like the 3 basic human needs. So then when they haven't felt safe and they haven't felt validated in their world, then they want to take control of the situation. So this shows up in a lot of people as drug addiction when they're older, because it's the way that they feel they are able to take control of the situation, because that's their what's it called? That's what they slip back into. That is their default basic human need, because their safety and their approval haven't been met. Those needs haven't been met, so they go back to that controlling technique of addiction. So once we can understand these parts of ourselves and really integrate them in and allow them, then there is no need to hide or avoid or try and be somebody we're not. We just get to really love on ourselves fully and integrate all of these parts of ourselves. And especially with the drug addiction, this is huge, because I've helped quite a few people with drug addiction, but it's really beautiful when you don't have to avoid the addictive tendency. You can just allow that version of yourself in. It's a complete mind fuck, because you don't have to avoid or suppress or think of that version of yourself as bad or wrong, because it's not. It's a version of you that's not understood. And when we can fully understand that part of ourselves, then the addiction completely changes, because we actually understand how to approve of ourselves, how to feel safe within our body. So there's no need to take control with substances, because we're already safe and we're already in love with our vessel, in love with our mind, and we allow spirit to take control of the situation. So we don't need to control it with drugs or alcohol or sex or gambling or violence or eating or any of those things that pop up. They're just the bits of ourselves that we don't understand. Or it might be an addiction to work, it might be an addiction to avoiding, it might be an addiction to cleaning. Wherever you are in your spiritual evolution and expansion, that's what will generally pop up, because that is the key to the next evolution of your expanded consciousness. Rather than raising your frequency and bypassing all of this stuff that is your biggest gifts, like anybody can raise their consciousness, but what about expanding and accepting all of ourselves? Because this is something that comes up a lot. Everybody's raising their consciousness, and then when they come back to the real world, it's a bit shit, because they want to be in that elevated state all the time. So how can we expand our consciousness and really go into all parts of our being so that we are fully integrated, and there is none of this needing to escape to this other place, because it's literally just a dopamine hit that we are all trained at wanting. That's why we go to all these things. Like raising consciousness and raising frequency is just the next hit of dopamine. It's just the next hit of DMT in the brain. It's just the next hit, right? So how can we really expand our consciousness and really fucking do the work and accept all parts of ourselves? So that's whatever it is that you're avoiding, whatever it is that seems hard, whatever it is that seems so fucking overwhelming, whatever it is that you're punishing or suffering mentally for or about, or circumstances or any of those things, that is what a spiritual awakening looks like. This is the work that you get to do that will be your biggest gifts and your biggest breakthroughs into the next expansion of your consciousness. So don't avoid or escape. Literally get somebody that can help you on this path, understand what the frick is going on, and be able to shine the light for you in places that you're not looking, but then allows you to go into those places. So that's what I do. I freaking love it. I help people on their spiritual awakening. They didn't realize it was a spiritual awakening most of the time, but it literally is. So how can you do the work and look into the places that you weren't willing to go or were afraid of going or have been avoiding, or the places that people told you were shit about yourself, or the things that people told you were wrong about you or were bad or ugly. And don't do that, because that's not the best version of yourself. Do this part because that's what's socially acceptable. Oh, hell no. Because look at those people's lives. No, it's not about judging, but literally the people that are telling you that stuff, they have done no fucking work on themselves, and I would not take advice from them, right? So if you are looking to expand your consciousness and have more of understanding about who you are and what your purpose is in life and what the unique gifts that you hold within your vessel that will literally blow your fucking mind, so you don't need to escape anymore, because you can integrate all parts of yourself and have all of your gifts and psychic abilities and clairvoyancy, clairauditory, kinesthetic, all of the things, you can get to understand them a whole lot more whilst having great tools that are going to make the process a lot simpler. So that's what my program is that I've created. It's called the Upgrade Method, and it literally helps you to clear energetic ties that are keeping you stuck or keeping your energy being drained. It allows you to connect deeply with yourself and your truth and the subliminal programming. It literally allows you to see the subliminal programming that's actually not yours, because we slow things down. So you actually get to see how your subconscious brain works, so then you can choose how you want to be moving forward, and which parts you are going to highlight, and which parts need integrating, and which parts need addressing, and all of these things. So really going into the subconscious is so, so beautiful. We create rituals that deeply connect you with spirit, with the elements, with the earth, with the water, with the fire, with the air. Deeply connect you with the elements, so that you literally, there is no disconnect with you and spirit. Because remember, we are on Mother Earth, and we are all expressions of Mother Earth. We are, earth is our body, fire is our spirit, water is our blood, and air is our breath. So once we remember that we are actually a expression of Mother Earth, and spirit is our consciousness, creator is our consciousness, creator is our passion, is our purpose, then there is no disconnect, and life becomes beautiful and deep and never lonely, because you are always full, whole, and complete, and you get to work with your allies. You get to work with Pachamama, Mother Earth. You get to work with, in conjunction with the elements. There is no disconnect. You get to work with the plants in the simplest way, with simple rituals that you're already doing throughout your day, that we just create them into rituals, so that your life, without needing to escape into a higher vibration or frequency, you do that within your every single day with the simplest tasks that you are doing. It is absolutely beautiful. So working with the elements and working with your natural environment, so that you have this deep connection all of the time. When you're conscious, you don't need to go into a meditative state to get it, right? It is there for you always. So that is like super freaking profound, right? And then we also help to look, part of the program, we look within different timelines of your life and just see how your basic needs were met or weren't met. And we literally tally them up, and then we're able to discover what your default systems are and why certain things are still popping up in your life, and how, once we know what your default systems are, you're able to be that for yourself, so you're not looking for it externally. For example, if you had an addiction and you always, like when you get stressed out or whatever and you go to reach for that addiction, it's because your default system isn't getting met. Your basic needs aren't getting met. So when we know that this is exactly what's happening, it's like, oh, okay, whoa, I'm reaching for my addiction. What is it that I'm needing in this moment? And then we're able to give it to ourselves, and then the addiction can dissipate or not. We don't push anything away. We allow everything, yet we try and catch ourselves in those moments, so that we can expand our consciousness, so that we can have the spiritual awakening, so that we can understand why we are reaching for that addiction, and how we can, because when you reach for the addiction, it never actually is super fulfilling. Yeah, you might get high for a little while, but then the come down of that is nasty, right? So how we can actually bring the feelings that we get from the addiction without the drug or without the food or without anything like that. We're able to get that for ourselves without needing to go into a meditative state, literally by some techniques that we've got within this program, which will fucking change your life forever. And when you're doing this kind of work, it literally resonates because you're literally expanding your consciousness and you are having a spiritual awakening, it goes and resonates into all of the areas around you. So it might go into your family. Like, I know this is huge for a lot of people that I work with, and for myself as well. I'll go and freaking do the work, or my clients will be doing the work, and then like one of my clients is like, I'm doing all this work and my mum's having this like fucking spiritual awakening. Like, what the hell? It's amazing. We get to do this together and she's not even doing the work. I'm like, yeah, it's amazing, because everything is connected to everything, right? And once we're working with the elements and once we're working with spirit and resonance, then these things get to resonate throughout our whole world, you know? So it is really beautiful. So I just wanted to tune into that, because like this makes me so excited, because I just love the work that we get to do, right? And if you have any questions about spiritual awakening, then please remember to reach out, get in touch with me. And remember, your spiritual awakening, the things that are the hardest for you or that you're suffering with, they are the keys to wherever you want to be. They are the keys to your life purpose. They are the keys to understanding your soul. They are the keys to connection to spirit. They are the keys to expanding your consciousness and raising vibration without missing anything, without spiritually bypassing. So, reach out. I would love to help you with this. And what I was basically saying then is, they're not your villains. They're not your saboteurs. They're your greatest gifts when they're worked with in the right way. So you are perfect, whole, and complete in every moment. You do not need to avoid or suppress anything, because all of you is amazing. It's just understanding what the frick is going on. So allow your craziness to come through, allow it to see it what it is for what it is, and then get tools to support you through the spiritual awakening, so that you don't get stuck in it. Because I see some people get stuck in a spiritual awakening for like 5-10 years because they're not doing any deep inner work. So get a coach. I would love to support you. I'm a personal freedom coach. That's what I do. I help people to get mental clarity and understand their own authentic truth and live a life of purpose. Their soul mission, what their soul mission was to do here, deeply connected and supported by spirit. Even when you're in your darkest hours, you can be abundant and manifesting like a mofo if you know how to communicate with spirit. Right? This isn't this dopamine hit that we need to escape to elsewhere. No, we've been put here for a human experience. So accept all parts of yourself. Allow spirit to work with you and through you always. And if you need some extra help through this, or you want to take your spiritual awakening to that next level, then get in touch. This is my work. I freaking love it. I'm super passionate about it, and I would love to support you. So reach out. My name is Blythe Langford, and I am your personal freedom coach. And I will speak to you soon. Have a beautiful day, night, morning, week, whatever it is, whatever you're doing. Sending you so much love. So much love. Mwah.